Hey everyone, DarkDragoon here with Season 2, Episode 24 of my FTB Modpack Let's Play. So as you guys can see, I'm picking up right where we left off last episode, and I'm making myself some more of this glass fiber cabling because we're going to need more of it, and I've pretty much reached the point where I've got enough resources to be able to pretty much just solely use this instead of anything else. So I'm just sort of running it down, and that was unexpected. I'm just basically running it down through here and trying to figure out exactly where we want to set this up. Come on, let's grab our thing here and fix this real quick. Don't want to waste any. Yeah, try and decide exactly how we want to run this thing. So it's obviously going to get a little crazy under here, but that's to be expected somewhat. So yeah, let's see, where do we want to go ahead and set up our recyclers? I'm thinking somewhere along this line here. And the reason for that is, I'm thinking maybe, you could probably set this up a little differently too. I'm thinking like right here. How's that? That'll be a little bit of a problem there. So I'm thinking maybe something more like right here. So, oh, that's okay. And let's see. Okay. I'm trying to sort of think about this as I'm doing it, and it's usually not the best plan, but that's okay. It'll work, trust me. So yeah, we're just going to run it down. Probably best to run it down like this. There we go. And probably then, let's see, let's run this down here. That way we avoid some of this stuff, some of this insanity in here. Oops. I didn't quite mean to do that, but it'll work. Alright, so yeah. Get out of this mess here. Get under here. Come on. Yeah. Let's see where you're coming out at. Right here. Alright, this will work, I promise. So, just for ease, let's actually run it down one more. Just so that I can have something of a uniform sort of way this is set up. There we go. And I'm just going to dig my way out so I can jump out. Cool. Or not. Or I could just go this way. Okay, so we've got our line running up along here. Cool. And that should be able to give us plenty of juice to run our recyclers on. And obviously these are running pretty slow at the moment, mostly because there is one bit of cabling I forgot to add. Right there. This MFE was only getting power from one of the water mills. Now it's getting power from all of them. So you can see it's running pretty fast. Cool. So I'm going to cover this stuff up a little bit, because obviously we sort of made some adjustments in how we were going to run this line, so we don't need all this stuff visible. Cool. So like I said, we're going to run our recyclers probably right here. That seems like a pretty good spot. It's not somewhere in line, and it sort of looks like it belongs in our system, but it's not too crazy. I'm kind of wishing that we didn't have this bluetricity line running right here, but I think we'll just have to probably just have to deal with it. Technically, I guess we can move it over. Yeah, I'm actually going to move this line over, basically to sit right underneath here, but I'm going to do that off camera, so I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, I'm back, and yeah, as you guys can see, oh, this looks like a gigantic mess, right? Well, it kind of is. It's just sort of a mess of wires and tubes and everything. But yeah, it's pretty much all hooked up. I got this line, this glass fiber line running over to our MFE, and it's basically going to come up to where our machines are going to sit, right here where the dirt is. I painted these red and yellow just to make sure that this looks kind of nice. It's obviously doesn't technically need it to be that way. I could have saved myself a bit of cabling, but I like setting it up that way just so that it's sort of clear how it's working, to me at least. And then we've got some tubing here set up in preparation for sort of once we actually get our recyclers in. But that said, our recyclers are made, and our recyclers are not yet made yet, so why don't we go ahead and make those next, and then we can worry about all this tubing and what it means. So I'm just going to cover up this bit here, since technically this part of it's done. Our wiring is definitely set up and is in good shape. And then I'm going to actually, off camera, I'm going to go ahead and cover up our blue jacketed wiring here with some covers. And when I come back, we'll start getting our recyclers made. So give me just a second. Alright, so to get this ball rolling, we're going to need to make ourselves a couple of these electronic circuits. So we should have all the materials we need to make this, unless I'm forgetting something, which I probably am. I am known to forget things. So yeah, so recyclers. They're going to require a couple of these compressors. You can see the recipe here. Pretty simple. Just some stone and some of these machine blocks. Not too bad. We've made a couple of these before. So there we go. I'm going to need to grab... Come on. Going to need to grab a bit of our smooth stone, which I think we've got some sitting in a barrel right here. That'll do. And we'll just put these together pretty simply. Not too difficult of a recipe to make, to be perfectly honest, since it just requires some cheap materials. And refined iron is going to be in quite abundance. So the other thing we need is dirt, which luckily is also just very, very cheap. And we happen to replenish a little bit of our glowstone supply from our other world. So here we go. 3 recyclers. Excellent. So we're just going to slap these down right here where these dirt blocks are. Or we're going to blow up. Okay. That's not actually too big a deal. We did lose our recycler, but I can make another one of those. So why did that happen? Well, I forgot that recyclers can only run on low voltage power, and right now our MFE here is producing medium voltage power. So what we're going to need is a transformer. So what I'm going to do is I think we've got the stuff for the low voltage transformer. Let's take a look. Yeah, really simple. Just need wood and copper and some of our cables, which we have. There we go. No problem. No big deal. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and fix up our... I'm going to need another electronic circuit. That's probably the only part of this whole losing that I'm kind of disappointed about. Just because electronic circuits are a little pesky to make. There we go. Okay. Like I said, no big deal. I'll just remake it. Not too big of a loss. A little bit of a loss, but nothing I can't recover from. So, dirt, bit of glowstone. Where'd our refined iron go? There we go. Okay, so this time, why don't I actually set up this low voltage transformer, shall we? It's pretty easy. Basically, as you guys can see from sort of the picture of it, it's got one side that's going to have 3 dots on it, and all the other sides are only going to have 1. This works pretty much like we set up over there for our Greg Tech stuff. So I think what we'll do is this should work. We'll just set this up. I'm going to have to set this up like here first, and then flip it around using our wrench. Let's see. Here we go. So we'll flip it in, and you can see the high voltage is coming on this side, and then low voltage is leaving on that side. Cool. So now we should be able to put our recyclers down. Prepare for explosion. There they go. Okay, cool. So we set it up right this time. Awesome. I'm just gonna run over here, and now we can pretty much set up our pneumatic tubing and fix this whole mess. There we go. And there we go. Obviously, the stuff we're going to put in the top here is going to be our input. So what do recyclers do? Basically, recyclers take whatever you put in them and they process them into a material known as scrap. Now, scrap doesn't have many uses, but let's see. It does have a couple. You can use it as a fuel source, which is okay, and you can also put it together in a 3x3 block to make scrap boxes, and if you right-click a scrap box, you'll get a random material out of it. Pretty cool. So, yeah, you can see scrap boxes can pretty much give you any sort of block in the game. There's a small chance. The other thing that scrap is used for, you can use it to make IC2 fertilizer for the crop system. You can also put it in a mass fabricator to make UU matter. That's probably what we're ultimately going to do with our scrap. But for now, we're just going to set up a system to pump it into a chest, and we'll set up a mass fabricator later down the line. So to do that, obviously we're going to need to set up, we're going to need to hook up these pipes to our system over there on our barrels. That way, pretty much the last place anything going that way is going to go is over to our recyclers to be turned into scrap. And the materials most likely for that to happen to are going to be things like dirt and cobble and probably eventually gravel as well. So the other thing we're going to need is we're going to need a retriever, and I'm going to set that up now because what we're going to need it for is basically to pull the scrap out as it finishes. So not too bad. We're just going to need to get ourselves a filter, and to make a filter we need our piston. There it is. Cool. Piston and filter. It's going to need a bit of gold and a bit of U. Okay, filter. And retriever. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the stuff together. I'll make that retriever and I'll be back. Okay, there we go. Got ourselves our retriever. And it's pretty much just going to go right down here. Should be something like this. And got to get it flipped around properly. And our screwdriver broke. Can't remember if we actually still had an extra screwdriver lying in here. Ooh, we do not. Okay, well, in that case, let's make ourselves a new one. Something new that we've got plenty of all that in abundance, so we're going to make ourselves a new tool real quick. Why? Because why use a manual tool when you can make yourself an automatic one? Makes sense to me. And we'll need one of these green sapphires. Very cool little device. So let's see here. We need to make ourselves a battery first. Where'd our Nicolite go? There we go. Simple enough. Bit of brass and a green sapphire. Gives us a sonic screwdriver. This thing is cool. It's if you're fans of Doctor Who, there you go. It's pretty much what this thing is. Can pretty much put it into a battery. Should be able to put it into a battery. Unless it's just going to be pesky. Well, apparently it's going to be pesky. Can you not charge these up in here anymore? Alright, let me figure out what's going on and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to assume that the sonic screwdriver can only be charged in the red power 2 charging bench, which is not too difficult to make, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. I just made myself a battery, and basically so long as you've got your sonic screwdriver on your bar, you can right-click the battery to charge it up. Cool. No problem. So yeah. So I'm just setting up our retriever, basically. And of course, everything is flying in here for some bizarre reason. Actually, I know exactly why. I'm just kind of annoyed by it. Right now, my inventory is cluttered, so I'm going to try to deal with that a little bit. This is pretty bad. With our retriever getting clogged, it didn't exactly help. So, that didn't go there. That does. And finally, deal with our Quicksilver. There we go. Alright, so where were we? Ah, yes, the retriever. Basically, once we get some scrap from here, let's just go ahead and put some stuff in there. And you can see it's not a 100% chance to get scrap, but and it doesn't run super fast. Well, that's something we'll definitely have to fix later on. But there you go. We got a little bit of scrap. Now I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to tell the retriever to only pull out scrap. That way we won't accidentally. It shouldn't pull out anything else from our recycler, but you never know. It might. So just go ahead and nip that in the bud before it becomes a problem. So yeah. So there you go. Obviously, we'll have to figure out once it comes up here, it's going to turn black. So we're going to have to figure out where exactly we want it to go. But we could probably do that later on, as we're definitely going to need sort of a dedicated place for that to go, and right now I don't really have a dedicated place for that to go. Oh, look at all these quartz crystals getting lost in here. Oh, we got some emeralds. That's cool. Must have gotten that from our world over there. So this pretty much set up. We've got that. We just need to be able to pump. Pretty much set up a pneumatic tube system to get any excess over here. So yeah. Do we have pneumatic tubes? That is the question. Let's just make a couple more. There we go. Okay, so I'm thinking basically just running this out through here, like so. And of course down through here. See if we can even... Is that gonna connect? No, of course not. Can't just be simple, right? It has to be all sorts of complicated. There we go. That should be connecting now. Now we're definitely going to want to... I think we've got some restriction tubes, so I think we're going to want to make... Yes, we do have some restriction tubes. Excellent. We're definitely going to want to make the last line of this that's coming out into a restriction tube. That way the system knows, hey, I should only be going this way as a last possible resort, which it already should be, but I just want to be doubly sure, basically. And since we already had the restriction tube lying around, it's not like we wasted a bit of iron that we didn't otherwise have. So yeah. So basically, we're just going to run this up like so. I think that'll be good. We'll put a little bit of a cover here, just to be sure that nothing tries to go in that way. Again, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but better safe than sorry, right? So yeah, so now we have this pipe is pretty much bringing any of our excess materials straight over to our recyclers. And once we get a timer on this retriever, the retriever will automatically pull out scrap and send it into our sorting system. Cool. So the last thing we really need to do to get this thing set up and working is get ourselves a timer, which we should be able to do pretty casually. So we're going to need just a couple of these. We've done this a couple times now. We actually do have our anodes, so that's not a problem. I also want to say we've got some redstone torches lying over here. Cool. So where'd our redstone torches go? There they are. Gonna need 2 cathodes, one of which we're gonna keep. Actually, no, we didn't need 2 cathodes. We needed to do this. Redstone torch, and where does smoothstone go? There it is. And the pointer. Cool. Why am I doing this manually? Because I don't want to grab that. I'm being a little bit lazy about it. So I'll just do it manually. There we go, timer. Excellent. We've made quite a few of these, so they should be pretty clear to how they work. We should just be able to get ourselves a bit of cobble there and flip it around. This thing doesn't need to run particularly fast, but you can definitely see there it goes. Excellent. Like I said, this thing doesn't need to run particularly fast. I think we crashed. Yes, crashed. Okay, I'm back, and yeah, just be careful when you're right-clicking on your timers that you're not holding any items. It sometimes doesn't really like that. I knew that, I was just being kind of careless about it, and that was my fault. So yeah, there we go. Like I said, this doesn't need to run too quickly. I'm thinking something like 2.5 seconds is fine. Now, you really don't want your timers all running really fast unless you absolutely need them running that fast. Because obviously the faster your timers are going, the more lag you're going to end up getting. So just be wary of that as well. So yeah, so pretty much we can probably get pretty close to covering all of this up, as we do have our line already headed over here, and we have our system set up to be able to handle the scrap. Now obviously, like I said, we're going to get quite a bit of scrap, and right now it's all headed for our miscellaneous items chest over here. And I think we're going to want to change that at least sometime soon. I don't know. I'm trying to sort of look around to see if there's sort of a natural place that we can put it. And I'm kind of thinking that I could move this paint out of here and set up a filter, kind of like we have for everything else here. Seems like a decent plan. I think I'm going to do that. But you guys have seen me do that, so we'll probably do that off camera. And let's see, we've been at this for a little while, so let me go ahead, and this is pretty much done, so let me go ahead and cover this up, and we'll see where we are and what we want to get into next. Alright, I'm back. I went on a little bit of a high climbing jungle adventure and managed to find myself some cocoa beans, and as you can see, quite a bit of jungle wood. The reason for that is we're going to make ourselves another color of paint, brown. I chose brown because brown is the color of scrap, and that makes sense to me. So we should just be able to basically set this up very simply. See this retriever here? If we right click it, we can access its sort of UI here, and we can actually go ahead and set a color to whatever is coming out of the retriever. We're going to set it to brown. That way, as stuff gets pulled by the retriever and sent along the way, it will automatically be colored brown, and when it comes up here, it's automatically going to go to basically to the brown line, which we're going to set up right here. Because remember, we're going to put our scrap here. So by painting that brown, it's going to completely even bypass our sorting machine and head straight to where it wants to go. So just to give this a little bit of a test, let's just toss some stuff that frankly we don't really need a lot of, like dirt, into our recyclers here. Again, they're running kind of slow, and we're definitely going to want them to run faster, and I think that's going to be probably something we solve a little bit later. Looks like our quarry might have stopped running. We might need to pop over there just to, since we crashed, we might need to pop over there just to make sure that everything loaded. Let's double check on things just to make sure. Okay, this seems fine. Okay. Everything seems fine in our green factory. Let's go check on our quarry world and figure out what's going on over there. may very well just be that, yeah, because we crashed, it might have stopped running. Everything appears to be working properly over here. You can see it's already made pretty good progress down into the Earth. Again, this is mostly because we made it as small as we did. So yeah, okay, so that's working. So everything should be now running into our system perfectly. I mostly want to, before we make the quarry run even faster, I mostly want to get this whole system set up, because if we don't set it up now and try to expand out our system, it's going to get a little bit overflowing. So yeah, there we go. Scrap is moving along nicely. Cobble is being delivered over there. So yeah, our system appears to be working. The only other thing we're going to really need to do is make it so these recyclers process their materials even faster. And actually, there's probably a couple other things I could do to it, namely adding in some of these relays to help it when we obviously start getting a lot of materials as well. But for now, we shouldn't need it. So yeah, so I think we are ready to cover this stuff up for good. And I'll get ourselves a couple of those marble hollow covers. Just to make it look nice. One there, and one there should do the trick. Cool. So, there we go. Pretty much got our sorting system to the point where it's going to be able to manage just about anything that comes into it. The only other thing, like I said, that needs to happen is to just, to be able to set the system up to be able to process a lot of materials coming in. But I think that is for a later day. So, that said, we're probably getting pretty close to the point where we need to call this episode. But we might have a few minutes. So let me clear out my inventory and figure out how much time we have left, and we'll see if we have time for something a little else. Alright, we probably have just enough time to make ourselves a new tool. And remember, if you recall, I was pointing out that we had a little bit of problems with our diamond drill running out of power too fast. So I made myself some RE batteries using sulfur and some powdered or some pulverized lead, and if we put them together with some electronic circuit and some tin ingot, we get ourselves a backpack, which is a really cool item. We can toss it in. We'll toss our drill in here real quick, fill it up. We can toss it in our MFA, and it'll slowly build up the power. You can see it can hold up to 60,000 EU, which is going to give us basically 6 times more the amount of power to run our electric diamond drill on, which is cool. And I won't actually fully charge it, but you can see we'll wear it on our back. I believe it gives a tiny amount of armor. No, it doesn't give any armor, but it'll let you run all of your electronic tools on it. So cool little device that will certainly help us out. And there are upgrades to this thing as well. As you guys can see, we can make, if we've got Greg Tech on, which I do. There's also the lithium backpack, which can hold up to 600,000 EU. And then there's also the more standard industrial craft lap pack, which you can see here. Pretty simple to make, just requires a backpack and some lapis and an advanced circuit. And then it goes up from there, thanks to I believe Gravisuite adds some of these other ones. I believe the advanced lap pack is Greg Tech, but the ultimate lap pack should be available to all of you. So, why did our backpacks? Oh, okay, it finished. It was just not updating properly. So there we go. Now I shouldn't have any problems with my power. So there we go. So, that done, I think this is probably about the point where we need to call this episode. I think next episode, now that we've gotten all of this done, I might, between now and next episode, I might make our quarry run a little bit faster with just a few more engines. And if I do, we'll probably start next episode speeding up these recyclers, and I'll show you guys how to do that. But I definitely want to get to the new forestry thing that I was talking about quite a few episodes ago that I definitely want to get to relatively soon and show you guys some of the cool new stuff in store for forestry. So look forward to trying to get to that next episode. So until then, this has been DarkDragoon's Feed the Beast Mod Pack Let's Play, episode 24 if I recall. Yes, 24. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and stay tuned for next episode. Catch you guys later.